Our first guest will be a very well-traveled young man. He's coming today from Boston to be with us. And in 3 days, he leaves for Austria. Wait a minute, I think he leaves tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. We'll clear that up. He's been invited there to help celebrate the 50th anniversary of the end of Nazi rule there. Please welcome a terrific guy, Matt Eddy. Matt, welcome to the show.
It's nice to be here.
An adventurous trip down, right?
Yeah.
Your adventure has already started. And you're leaving, are you leaving tomorrow in 3 days, which is...
Tomorrow night.
You all packed?
Yep.
Now, you are quite a guy. I have talked to the principal of your high school today. She wants to see you in the office when you get back. I talked to Kate Clary of the Mass Hospital School, okay? You're a senior there, right? In high school?
Yeah, I'll be a senior next year.
Next year?
Yeah.
Massachusetts accent sneaking in there. Next year?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
And you're not just you are any high school student. You are an A student.
Yeah. This
Honor
year
student?
I was.
You were an A student this year? Well, if it works for you, just use it.
Yeah.
Football, hockey, soccer. And what's Insomnia?
Insomnia, it's a rock group that I'm in. I play bass guitar for it. I just started about a year ago.
Okay, so added to the list of A student, great scholar, athlete, and let's see, musician, you have been an ambassador for muscular dystrophy?
MDA. Yeah.
What is that? What do you do as an ambassador for muscular dystrophy?
I just go to like the different fundraisers they have, just to be a representative of MDA. Yeah.
And spread around your credentials and let them see that...
Yeah, that's when I was younger, but I'm not anymore.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you got ambassador on your resume. It works.
Yeah, it works.
How long have you had muscular dystrophy?
My whole life, since I was born.
Since you were born?
Yeah.
How long have you been in a wheelchair?
Since I was 10.
So you've been in a wheelchair all through high school?
Yeah.
And you've accomplished all this?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
I don't know. I just don't let the problems I have bother me. I just put them aside and go for the stuff that's good.
But how do you do that? I mean, when you say, that sounds... I guess other people have asked you that question and you have the great answer, but I mean, what does it really mean you put the other problems aside? Can you really do that?
Yeah, I just don't like... Why should I let things bother me when I can do better?
Well, you're a writer, too. You're working on a novel?
Yeah, and a poetry book, too, with one of my friends.
You're a really 90s kind of guy, sensitive guy. Now, I especially like the writing you did recently when you wrote an essay that won you a very special place. Would you tell us about that contest and the essay that you wrote?
Yeah. A couple months ago, my school was told about, Austria called the commissioner of mass rehab, Massachusetts, and told them that...
Now, Austria called us, like the country of Austria? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, but they called him and they told him that it's going to be the 50th anniversary of the liberation. So, he talked to that guy, the person from Austria, talked to, I think the commissioner's name is Elmer Bartels. So they told him, and then he asked Massachusetts Hospital School, where I go to school, and then they decided to put on an essay.
An essay contest?
Yeah, and whoever wrote the best essay would be chosen. What they did is, I think they had 6 judges, and they all judged, they gave certain points to each one, and the one that had the highest score won, and it ended up being me.
So you get to do what?
Go represent the state, Massachusetts and Austria.
Now, the invitation was put out, I think, by the mayor of Austria. That's the guy you were talking about. I think he made all the calls. And can you tell me, why was it important to Vienna to invite physically challenged people?
Because usually during the Holocaust, the first people that were usually, taken care of were the people,
People who were persecuted?
Yeah, the persecuted people were the ones with disabilities, the handicapped ones.
I know you're a student of history, and you study World War II, enjoy that. How does that ring to you? I mean, can you imagine any of that as you're reading it, that they would have done this to people who were handicapped?
I know, it's hard to believe, but some people are just cruel. That's how they are.
Evil is a good word.
Yeah.
I like this particular quote. Can I read it to you from your essay?
Yeah.
It says, quote, "I'm glad that in this day and time, the physically challenged are looked at as people and not just a disability." What does that mean? Why did you put that sentence in there?
Because, you know, now in the 90s, it's like, you know, there's a lot more places you can go. People don't just look at you and say, "Oh, he's in a wheelchair, can't talk to him." You know, like that.
Yeah.
Now I have people come up to me and say hi to me all the time and everything.
Yeah, people are much more open about it.
Yeah, that's what I like about that.
You know, one of the things I know, I want to talk about kids for a minute and dealing with people who are physically challenged and in a wheelchair. I heard some advice the other day in our Parents Helper show. I just want to see how you react to this. A woman called in and said, how do I, when I see a physically challenged person in a supermarket, let's say, how should I, my child wants to know what's that. Can I send my child over to talk to that individual? And the psychologist said, yes, that would be a very good idea. Go over and ask questions and so forth. Is that something that works?
Yeah. I remember when I was younger, it used to embarrass me, like a kid would come up to me, like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, just, "I have weak muscles." That's all I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just like, if someone asks me, I say, "I have Duchenne muscular dystrophy."
Yeah.
And then I explain that, you know, it's a degenerative muscle disease, whereas as you get older, your muscles deteriorate.
Well, as you got older, you realized there were things that you could do that maybe as a kid you thought, "Oh, I'll never be able to do that."
Yeah, because hey, if you have a mind, then use it. Just because you have a disability and you can't walk or something doesn't mean that it affects your mind.
Yeah. Tell me about this school that you attend. The full name. Is it a special school?
It's Massachusetts Hospital School.
Okay.
It's a place for people with disabilities to go, where, you know, all the other people like that, and then they understand what's wrong with you, and then, you know, everything's accessible. They have a recreation complex where they, you know, we do sports and activities after school, so they keep us busy all the time.
Yeah, that's where you got your varsity letters and all these sports.
Yeah.
And boy, what a guy. When you're at this school, your father has been a great supporter. How great has he been throughout this whole thing?
How great has he been? It's like,
I know he's been an important part of your life.
I want you to hear. If I give enough time in advance, he'll come to anything I'm doing. Yeah. So that's why I chose him to go with me to Austria.
You put down in your essay, I know that I read in your notes that you made that your dad is one of your best friends.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like, you know, it's nice having a younger father because he likes some of the music I listen to, and it's great. You know.
Comes to your band concerts. And Dad's in the audience here just sitting there beaming, and it's nice to say, nice having a young father. What do you think about that, Dad, huh? Nice having a young dad. Well,
yeah.
you are quite a guy, and I want to talk a little bit more about your trip there and how you're preparing to go. You're on your way tomorrow. The van is packed downstairs, folks. It's filled to the brim. You're going to have a great night in New York. And coming up on Have a Heart, we'll take a look at a program that puts kids on the road to recovery by bringing them back to nature. Stay tuned for more when Have a Heart continues with young Matt Eddy here. We'll be right back.